Well, welcome to Northern Light Spiritual Center, a community of people dedicated to using spiritual and practical principles to create lives we want to live. Northern Light Spiritual Center offers practical and spiritual tools to make positive changes in our lives. We at Northern Lights acknowledge our presence on the traditional and unceded ancestral lands of the First Peoples of Seattle, the Duwamish and Salish peoples. These people are still here, and we join with them in how they continue to honor and bring to light their ancient heritage. We seek to resist the erasure of Indigenous histories as we work towards honoring and inviting the truth. Please join me for our opening song by Ron and Carol Harris, Very Room. In this very room, there's quite enough love for all the world. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all the world. And there's quite enough peace and quite enough power to walk through our every fear. For Spirit, sweet Spirit, is in this very room. In this very room. So, for this morning's meditation, I'm going to invite people to just settle into their spaces. And just to start becoming aware of the breath coming in and the breath going out. And hopefully you can hear the background sounds of waves. Waves washing in and waves washing out. And as the waves wash in and out, and as our breath comes in and goes out, my invitation is to monitor the breath, just to watch the breath, and practice a Tibetan Buddhist process called Tonglen. And with Tonglen, as we breathe in the pain, the suffering, the sadness, in what may appear like darkness. And as we breathe that in this time of loss of so many lives, in this time of fear that so many people at least experience, we breathe that in, but as we breathe out, what we breathe out is a purity, is a light, is a generative creativity, so that we become, through the divine within us, able to take all that is, and it is converted into something new and whole. Analogous to the prayer of St. Francis, where there's hatred, Let me bring love. Where there is injury, pardon. And with each breath in, knowing that Spirit within us is greater than any pain, any suffering. And that our own experiences of pain and suffering allow us to connect with all the others who have these same experiences. So in this Tonglen practice, rather than finding separation, rather than finding detachment, we find a profound connection. We allow all our hearts have been broken. With each breath out, we allow a presence of wholeness, a presence of healing, a presence of revelation. And just pay attention that each of us can be vehicles of the divine. Allow ourselves to feel the gratitude that we can leave the world better than how we found it. Breathing in the disappointment, the restlessness, and the divine within. Uses us to bring more peace, more joy, our presence of good. Where we find separation, we see beyond that, and we breathe out wholeness. And this Tonglen practice is something that we can utilize on a moment's notice. If we find our bodies tense and our minds assaulted, our simple awareness of that allows us to take it in and transform it, to transform ourselves. Breathing out light and good and kindness and the presence of the divine. Whatever burdens we find before us, the great I am within in all its majesty and glory and magnificence, the infinite good within, is bigger than any suffering. Allowing ourselves to breathe in and breathe out. Once again, become aware of our body in the space where we are. Maybe you want to stretch out a little bit. Wriggle your fingers and toes. And as you feel ready, come back to the room, to the place where we are, and give thanks. And so it is. Reading, right? So, today's reading is a series of little messages. So it's like Reverend Pamela has shared dim sum with us with some of her talks. So the reading is a little bit of dim sum. Stand tall, stand proud. Know that you are unique and magnificent. You do not need the approval of others. And that quote comes from Jonathan Lockwood Huell. I will never leave you or forsake you. Comes from Hebrews 13:5. No matter who you are or what religion you belong to, one thing is always important. Spirit always has your back. For God did for us what we could not do for ourselves. Take the time to just see how incredible life in its essence. Think about Spirit's power, wisdom, love, and concern. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. Faith grounds us in the certainty of Spirit's faithfulness, and hope pulls us into the mystery of Spirit. Spirit has blessed each of us in many ways, both seen and unseen. Sometimes it is the unseen blessings that we either ignore, take for granted, or may be totally unaware that we even possess them. Spirit wants us to experience its blessings in all areas of our lives in order to create the kind of life we want. We have to get our thoughts and our inner visions in alignment with the power and purpose of our innermost spirit. Spirit is unlimited in what it can accomplish. And although the human part of us has obvious limitations, the divine part of us is created in the image of Spirit, completely unlimited. Remember, each time a negative or pessimistic train of thought pulls into the station, we don't have to buy a ticket and ride out on it. Instead, use the ticket on a more positive train of thought. In the end, the cost is less, the ride far more enjoyable, and the one sitting in the seat next to us is far greater than we could have imagined. No matter what happens in our life, Spirit will use that trial or hurtful experience to build patience and virtue in our lives. Psalm 121, verses 7 and 8. Spirit will keep you from all harm. She will watch over your life. Spirit will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. You are the sum total of your thoughts. It is the quality and consistency and depth of your thoughts that determines your attitude in life. A developed mind has the ability to create whatever it desires, for Spirit is the key to the full realization of our dreams. Spirit is testing us in a variety of ways, for Spirit is totally in charge. Spirit understands our prayers even when we can't find the words to say them. Our lives must not be dictated by our environment. So be the master of our surroundings. Realize that with Spirit nothing is impossible, and begin shedding the limitations that we have allowed to cloud our mind. Why not start today by setting aside a quiet time where we can be alone with Spirit? Ask her to come into your life, and our heart will be at a deeper level than ever before. Specifically pray for her to help you to become more loving, giving, caring, positive, optimistic. Prayer is the one place where we can take off our masks, open our hearts, speak openly and freely with our Creator. Give thanks to the Divine for being there for you, and when you complete your prayer, get up and get on with our day. Spirit enters by a private door into each individual, for our life is the Divine's novel. Let the Divine write it, and so it is. So Mykal is bringing up the words to this month's chant. I am the way that life shows up. I am the way that joy shows up. I am the way that light shows up. I am the way that wisdom shows up. The Divine expresses in me. The Divine expresses through me. The Divine expresses as me. Greater good, greater justice, arise. I am the way that life shows up. I am the way that joy shows up. I am the way that shows up. I am the way wisdom shows up. The Divine expresses in me. The Divine expresses through me. The Divine expresses as me. Greater good, greater justice arise. Now for you. You are the way that life shows up. You are the way that joy shows up. You are the way that light shows up. You are the way wisdom The divine expresses in you. The divine expresses through you. The divine expresses as you. Greater good, greater justice arise. Now the weavers. We are the way that life shows up. We are the way that joy shows up. We are the way that light shows up. We are the way wisdom shows up. The divine expresses in us. The divine expresses through us. The divine expresses as us. Greater good, greater justice arise. Now back to I. I am the way that life shows up. I am the way joy shows up. I am the way light shows up. I am the way wisdom shows up. The divine expresses in me. The divine expresses through me. The divine expresses as me. Greater good, greater justice arise.
You're my life, you're my breath, you're a smile, you're my guest. You're the earth, you're the sun, you're the grass, you are love. You're my hands, you're a bug, you're my eyes, you're a hug. You're the light in the dark, you're the spark, you are fun. You're my mom, you are water, you're the stars, you're my daughter. You're my friend till the end, you're my dreams, you're my father. You're the ants on the ground, the miracles that surround. I'm feeling it all around, the hemisphere, the cloud. You're my pain, you're my sorrow, you're my hope for tomorrow. You're the strength when I follow, you're the path that I follow. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss, the gift to realize that everything is a gift. Because what I have is more than I deserve or could ever imagine. How do I get back to all of this magic and spread the love so everybody can have it? Doesn't matter if I'm rich or poor, if I got a family or if I'm all alone. Bad things happen, I can just complain and moan. But there's a million things that I can be grateful for. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel. exist. Just realize that everything is a gift.
Good morning. As you might guess, my name is Mykal Amaré, and I welcome you to Northern Lights Spiritual Center on this actually beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest. A little chilly, but that's the way I see it. So, and today's topic is what is God giving you? But I wanted to actually throw in something else along with it, because November is Gratitude Month. I believe that Gratitude Month should be 13 months a year. However, sometimes we aren't grateful. So the first thing, what is God giving us? Well, basically God has given us everything. And that's it. Service done. But no, God has actually given us our spirit of the universe, has given us everything. And it is up to us, it is our job to awaken to it. To really know that, as in Reverend Vaughn's reading, that God, that Spirit, that the Divine has our back each and every moment of every day. Sometimes it's hard to believe and hard to accept that, but that is the truth. And life is fully supporting us at all times. So God has given us everything. It's our job to awaken to it and know that life is supporting us each and every day. And I liked something that was in Reverend Vaughn's reading today about unseen blessings. There's a song many years ago, a country song by Garth Brooks. It's called Unanswered Prayers. And sometimes we pray for something, or we want something so bad, and it doesn't show up. And sometimes that in itself is a blessing, because I believe Reverend Ron mentioned it last week, and it comes out in, like when we pray, and this or something better. And so sometimes Spirit knows what's better for us. Sometimes we may not think that. We may think that we know what's best, and in some cases that may be true. But sometimes we may want one thing, but Spirit says, no, that's why are you asking for something so small, so trivial? And something much greater shows up. And sometimes these things that we ask for aren't necessarily for our good. And so the one thing, one of the sayings that we use is that if it is true of God, it is true of us. And if you think about it, what does that mean? We are the divine expressions flowing in, like in the chant, it as us, through us, and so the divine is everywhere present. And so if something is true about God, God is peace, God is joy, that is also true about each and every one of us. Because each and every one of us are that expression of the divine. And so, yes, if it is true of God, it is true of us. And it's amazing sometimes when we forget these things. We forget that we are, yes, that expression of the divine in each and everything that we think, say, and do. Sometimes we forget too that the divine has given us this thing called free choice, or free will. Well, free will and choice. And with that free will and that choice, what is ours to do with it? And one thing is to take responsibility, because we need to be responsible for our choice, for our decisions, and everything we do, there's consequences for it. Cause and effect. I love that line in I think it's the second Matrix movie, and they're talking, and it said, and he says, no, it's based on cause and effect. I do this, and so I have to do this. And so when you make these choices in life, there's responsibility comes with it. Sometimes I think a lot of people forget about that. They forget that I make this choice to do something, and if this choice causes harm to someone else, I'm responsible for that. I'm responsible for that harm that comes to it. And I looked up a couple of things that the definition of free will, and it says independent choice, a voluntary decision. And I'd like to throw in a conscious choice. Possibly there are some unconscious choices, but in most cases it's conscious choice that we do. And sometimes you can ask in some cases, well, where did my part of this come into play? Because I had nothing to do with it. The thing is, there's that race thought that runs rampant, it seems like. It may not just be only my thought or my little teeny tiny part of it, but it's the person next to me, the person next to them, and so on and so forth. You have this, and you put this together, and what do you get? I mean, you get powerful decisions, powerful choices. And so right now we are in this pandemic, and it's really hard sometimes to find something to be grateful for in the pandemic. One thing I am grateful for, that I am healthy, that the people around me are healthy, and I'm really grateful for all the doctors and the nurses and all the caregivers and the scientists and everyone, because now they're at this point of creating, of allowing their creativity and their science and everything to come up with a vaccine of sorts. And it may not be here for a while. But if we look around and see the little things within this pandemic that we can be grateful for. I mean, we have food, we have heat. There's a lot of people that don't. And I ask for everybody to hold those people in their thoughts and their prayers, and to do what they can to assist in some way. And then there's the choice in voting. I can't go on. I mean, that's what happened yesterday. I can't go on without not saying something about it. That's one of our freedoms in this country, is the freedom to vote. And no matter how hard others, I say, try to discourage people or block people from voting, so many people have gotten out to make a choice, to make a conscious choice of how they want this country to go. And something our Vice President-elect said yesterday in her speech, I got to read this because it was, to me, it was very powerful and very appropriate for these times. And she's giving thanks to people, and she said, and to the American people who make up our beautiful country, thank you for turning out in record numbers to make your voices heard. And I know times have been challenging, especially the last several months. The grief, the sorrow, the pain, the worries and the struggles. But we have all also witnessed your courage, your resilience, and your generosity of spirit. For 4 years, you marched and organized for equality and justice, for our lives and for the planet, and then you voted. But while I am not the first woman in this office, or while I am the first woman in this office, I will not be the last. Because every little girl watching tonight sees that this country of possibilities and the children of our country, regardless of your gender, our country has sent you a clear message. Dream with ambition, lead with conviction, and see yourselves in a way that others may not, simply because they've never seen it before. But know that we will applaud you every step of the way. I just felt so moved by that, because she's addressing the children of this country, that yes, you can be anything, and not to allow others or situations to stop you. You have to basically fight and fight one step at a time to get where you want to go, to manifest the good in your life. And a person does it, it can be made a lot easier for others. Still a challenge, but still moving on. And as November is Gratitude Month, the powers of gratitude here are phenomenal, because you can take when you're in a spot. I'm quite sure everybody here has been in a spot before, where the depression, the anxiety, the sadness seems to take over us. But if you step into gratitude, and if you can just find that one thing at a time that you could be grateful for, one little thing. I saw a thing, a clip on Facebook. It was a joke, and it was like a retired person's dream: getting up in the morning, being grateful to get up in the morning, to awaken and open your eyes, and to be able to see and the beauty that surrounds us. No matter what's going on, there's still beauty. And that's one thing that I have, in the past couple decades, have become more aware of. I love trees. I mean, trees are I'm not fond of breaking leaves, but I love the trees because they're such beautiful living things. And no two are the same, just like no two individuals are the same. That I am grateful for. And I'm grateful that we're not the same. Because I've said it before, I think it would be very boring if we were all the same, all thought the same way, all loved exactly the same things. But there is that way of being grateful, because like being grateful, if you're just quiet for a moment and just breathe in and just find something that you're grateful for. Because that exercise can be so centering that whatever was in that moment before can be let go, can go to the wayside. And you can always pick those things up again. I mean, that's the thing. All this the troubles and toils and whatever in the universe, they can come back. I mean, if we want it back, invite it back. That's your choice. That's each of our choices. And has a dual meaning, a worldly one and a transcendent one. In its worldly sense, gratitude is a feeling that occurs in interpersonal exchanges when one person acknowledges receiving a valuable benefit from another. Gratitude is a cognitive, affective state that is typically associated with the perception that one has received a personal benefit that was not intentionally sought after. I like that. That was not intentionally sought after, deserved or earned, but rather because of the good intentions of another person. And that's the thing. Gratitude comes when it is not necessarily sought. Sometimes it happens by accident. But then again, I don't believe a lot of things happen by accident in this universe. Meister Eckhart, a philosopher and mystic, he once wrote, there's this one simple prayer. And it's, if the only prayer you ever said in your life was thank you, that would be enough. Just imagine if we went around, our everyday life, and we actually said thank you to people. And sometimes you say thanks, and it's not, it's just, lip service. I know, I am guilty of that at times. But when you say thank you with that deep sense of gratitude, you're going to affect that person, whoever you're saying that to's life. Just like greeting them, every day. The kindness, the generosity of spirit by just saying thank you. Because there's so many things that I think we take for granted, or I take for granted, like the food that comes on the table. I never thought of it until Reverend Vaughn brought it up the one time about, being grateful, thinking about where that food, the train of where that food came from, and all the hands and all the people involved in it. And just if you think about the gratitude of where, say, a slice of bread came from, it's mild. And so if we just can get in a habit of being grateful for the little things in life and the big things, but sometimes you have to start with the little things. Just like learning to walk, it's one step at a time. Learning to talk one word at a time. So being grateful for the little things. And I know we set aside Thanksgiving as a day of thanks, which I think Thanksgiving is probably my favorite holiday. This year I don't know so much because the gatherings will be small. But why can't we have this Thanksgiving every day? Practice it. Practice the idea of being grateful. Being grateful for the people that are in our lives, because they aren't here by accident. I never really quite believed that, but I've had some people that have touched my life that were only in it for a few minutes. And I've had people say something to me later on that, something I said or did affected them. And you didn't even think of, that wasn't the purpose. That wasn't my purpose anyway. But lo and behold, it showed up to them, and they were grateful for it. And I was I'm grateful that we live in a land that can go through a lot of stuff. We've gone through good stuff, and we've gone through not so good stuff. And right now, part of it is not so good. But there's also times we have stepped up, we've been lifted up. Because sometimes when we're down and out as individuals, there are people around us. There are these angels. You know, you may call them something else, but they are. We have these angels in our lives that lift us up, that hold us, and help us along until we can hold ourselves up. And that is, to me, I am grateful for all the people that have been in my life that have lifted me up when I was down, that have encouraged me, that have, maybe chastised me for not being as good as I could be at times. And that's fair. But gratitude also, it reminds us of what is important in life. What truly is important in your life. Sometimes, the riches and fame and all that, and I don't, to me that's not what is important in life. It's the love, the respect, of others, that is important, such as family, no matter however you want to describe family. Sometimes birth families can be very challenging, but that's where we're at choice. We can choose to have other people in our lives as our family. So just like the community here at Northern Lights Spiritual Center, I consider them my family, and they are important to me, each and every one. And then there's others in other areas of my life. They're also my family. So, these people that enter our lives, they enter our lives for a reason, because we need people. Just ask Barbara Streisand, people who need people. Because it would be extremely lonely if we were on this little planet or in this community by ourselves. So that's where gratitude reminds us of what is really important in our lives. And it also reminds us to thank others. One of the biggest experiences I learned with gratitude was in practitioner training, and I've shared this before. In Prac 1, one of the instructors said, if you get up and you're doing the opening or the closing, and you're nervous, which, for me that's part of the course, what you do is you just stop for a second and ground yourself in gratitude. And that is one of the most amazing things that I've experienced. And I challenge anybody, when you're in a tough situation, if you just take a second, find something to be grateful for, and allow that to go in and center you, and it'll change you. Maybe for only a moment, but it'll change you. So, Ralph Waldo, I got this quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. He said, cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good that comes to you, and to give thanks continuously. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. Now, when I read that, I go, well, that's actually very powerful, because if you think of your life, what things got you where you are today, everything that you've done, every action you've made has brought you to the spot that you are at this moment. And even the failures, even the bad times, that's all about building who we are. And so to be grateful for that opens us up to more things, to more good coming into our lives. Just to like you said, because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. That's a powerful statement, to include all things. I mean, there's people in our lives that they're like an irritant. I know, probably maybe nobody else has those, but I know a couple. And what happens with that little irritating thing in a pearl? I mean, in a clam, it develops into a pearl. So sometimes these little irritant things, I've had people that really irritated me in my life in the past, and they have come to be someone, because somehow times when this little grain of sand gets under our craw, and they make me think. Like talk radio drives me totally insane most of the time. But sometimes I'll listen because it challenges me to ask and think what I believe. And I had a person when I was going through, I think it was part 2, that I worked with, and I'm grateful for him. He couldn't understand why I was not following the right path, and he's still praying for me for that. So, which is okay, that's good. Prayer is prayer. Anyway, and finally, I had to sit down after these questions and actually ask myself, what do I believe? What can I say when he says, well, what do you believe? And instead of, sometimes him hawing around and just, okay, this is what I believe. And so these little grains of sand that get under our craw, they can develop into a pearl. And so to be grateful for these people that cause me to think, cause me to question. And one thing during this past 4 years has taught me to question and to think and to ask what the hell is going on, because sometimes you have to get up there and do that. So in the end of this song, that played, there was this at the very ending verse. I wanted to repeat because it's powerful. You're a blessing that exists. The small things that are bliss. The gift to realize that everything is a gift. Everything in our life is a gift. Sometimes even the pain. Because the pain, a lot of times, when we're in the moment, it's pain is not good. But it can break our hearts open to love more, to give love and to receive more love. So I just want to leave you, no homework today. You'll get that on the 5th Sunday. Is just to be kind, be grateful, and to count your blessings, even the unanswered prayers, because sometimes they are already answered. Be kind, be grateful, and count your blessings. And so it is. And so in this idea of being kind, I know that there's one power. And I know that power is expressing through each and every individual. And I ask, invite each of us to open up to others that are not in agreement with us. To open up for healing, for uniting, for coming together for the greatest good of all, for life. For I know that there is only one life. And that life is God's life, that life is my life, that life is your life. That life is right here and right now. And that life cannot be enjoyed and expressed truly if there is hatred and division. It is hard, but I invite us all to try and open up. Allow our hearts to open, our minds to open, to be what we want, to be that love that we seek, the joy that we seek, that peace. And so it is. I want to thank everybody for being here, those on Zoom, and those on Facebook, and those in the room. And we will be here next week, same time, same station. And I'm trying to think. Oh, and if you'd like to contribute, you can contribute. Go to spiritualcenter.com, and there's a donate button. And we have 3 families that we have. A person has found that we are supporting for Thanksgiving. If you want to donate, you can. You're more than welcome to. And so, as we take in gratitude, as I stand here in gratitude for the land that we're standing on, as Reverend Vaughn said, the land of the Native Americans that were here before us, who are the true Americans. And I'm grateful for the gifts that they have given. I'm grateful for each person that has entered into this space, this sacred space, whether it's in person, online, because this is a sacred space, this is a safe place. And I'm grateful for having a safe space to be. And so with that, I want to say just be kind, be grateful, and count your blessings. And so it is.